Life can change far more quickly than we ever expect. A normal morning can suddenly become unforgettable because of a single phone call, an unexpected diagnosis, a financial setback, or news that completely alters the direction of our lives. None of us wake up expecting difficult days to arrive. We make plans for the future, set goals, and imagine how tomorrow will unfold. Yet the truth is that no one can predict every circumstance that lies ahead. The uncertainty of life reminds us how limited our own strength and understanding truly are. When those unexpected moments come, they reveal where our confidence has really been placed. If our security depends only on our health, our finances, our relationships, or our own abilities, then every crisis has the power to shake us. But when our lives are anchored in God, even the fiercest storms cannot destroy the hope that He has placed within us. This is why Scripture continually points us toward the Lord, instead of toward temporary things. The world offers promises that often disappear when circumstances change. God offers a foundation that never moves. His character remains the same, whether life is peaceful or filled with uncertainty. His faithfulness does not weaken when our strength fails, and His love does not disappear when our hearts are overwhelmed with fear. Nahum 1-7 says, "The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and He knows those who trust in Him." That single verse carries incredible comfort. It reminds us that God never promised His children a life without difficulties. Instead, He promised to be our refuge when those difficulties arrive. A stronghold is a place of protection. It is where people run when danger is approaching. In the same way, our first response during hardship should not be panic. It should be prayer. It should be drawing closer to the God who already knows every challenge before it reaches us. Nothing that surprises us has ever surprised Him, and nothing that feels overwhelming to us is beyond His power to handle. Perhaps you are facing one of those unexpected moments right now. Maybe the future feels uncertain. Maybe your heart is carrying questions that no one else knows about. If so, today's message is a reminder that your greatest source of security has never been found in your circumstances. It has always been found in the faithful God who remains your refuge, your strength, and your unshakable hope through every season of life. One of the greatest mistakes we can make during difficult seasons is believing that fear has the final word. Fear always focuses on what might happen, magnifies every uncertainty, and convinces us that we are facing tomorrow alone. Faith tells a very different story. Faith reminds us that before we ever entered this season, God was already there. He knew every challenge that would come, every tear we would shed, and every question that would fill our hearts. Nothing has taken Him by surprise, and nothing has changed His ability to care for His children. That is why the Bible repeatedly calls us to trust rather than panic. God never asks us to deny reality. He simply invites us to face reality with the confidence that He is walking beside us. There will always be circumstances beyond our control. There will always be moments when we do not understand why certain things happen. But our peace is not built upon having every answer. It is built upon knowing the One who holds every answer in His hands. When hardship comes, our natural instinct is often to search for immediate solutions. We try to solve every problem on our own. We replay every possible outcome in our minds. We carry burdens that God never intended us to carry. Yet the Lord lovingly reminds us that we were never created to bear life's heaviest burdens by ourselves. He invites us to bring every anxiety, every fear, and every uncertainty into His presence. There is remarkable peace that comes from surrender, not because every circumstance changes overnight, but because our hearts begin resting in the assurance that God is still in control. The storm may continue for a season. The answers may not come as quickly as we hope, but God's faithfulness never depends on changing circumstances. His goodness remains constant. His promises remain true, and His presence never leaves those who place their trust in Him. Perhaps today you feel overwhelmed by situations you cannot control. If so, remember that your strength has never depended upon your ability to predict the future. Your confidence rests in the Lord, who already stands in your tomorrow. He is your refuge when life becomes uncertain. He is your peace when fear tries to overwhelm your heart. And He is your faithful shepherd, leading you safely one step at a time, even when you cannot yet see the entire path ahead. Throughout the Bible, we see that God's people were never exempt from hardship. They faced impossible situations, overwhelming obstacles, and seasons when the future seemed uncertain. Yet what set them apart was not the absence of trouble, but the presence of unwavering faith. Their confidence rested in the character of God, rather than in the stability of their circumstances. When the Israelites stood before the Red Sea, they saw an impossible barrier. God saw a path that had not yet been revealed. When David faced Goliath, others saw an undefeated giant. David saw a God whose power was greater than any enemy standing before him. The circumstances were the same for everyone. The difference was their perspective. Faith has a remarkable way of changing how we see life's greatest challenges. It does not pretend that problems are small. Instead, it reminds us that God is infinitely greater than every problem we will ever face. This is why we must continually guard our hearts against discouragement. Discouragement has a way of narrowing our vision until all we can see is today's struggle. Faith lifts our eyes toward God's promises and reminds us that our present situation is never the final chapter of our story. Every trial has a purpose. Every challenge carries an opportunity to experience God's faithfulness in a deeper way. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that God immediately removes the difficulty. Sometimes the miracle is the strength He gives us to endure it with peace, courage, and unwavering hope. As we continue trusting Him, our relationship with the Lord becomes stronger than it could have been during easier seasons. We learn that His grace truly is sufficient. We discover that His peace can remain in our hearts, even when life around us feels uncertain. And we begin to understand that His presence is far more valuable than any temporary comfort this world could offer. Perhaps you are standing before a challenge that feels larger than your own strength today. If so, remember that you were never called to face it alone. The God who has faithfully carried His people through every generation is still carrying His children today. He has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned your situation, and He has certainly not lost control of your future. Keep your eyes fixed on Him. Continue walking one faithful step at a time. The same God who has been your refuge in every previous season will remain your refuge today, tomorrow, and for every step that still lies ahead. One of the greatest blessings of walking with God is knowing that His presence does not depend on the circumstances surrounding us. When life is peaceful, He is with us. When the storm arrives without warning, He remains just as close, just as faithful, and just as powerful as He has always been. That truth changes everything. It allows us to face uncertain days without being consumed by fear, because our confidence is no longer anchored in temporary circumstances. Instead, it is anchored in the unchanging character of the God who has never failed a single one of His promises. The Lord does not ask us to carry tomorrow's burdens today. He simply invites us to trust Him with the next step. Very often, anxiety grows because we try to solve problems that have not even happened yet. We imagine every possible outcome, prepare ourselves for the worst, and slowly allow fear to rob us of the peace that God freely offers. But Jesus consistently called His followers back to a life of daily dependence. Today's grace is enough for today's challenges. Tomorrow's grace will be there when tomorrow arrives. Our responsibility is not to control every detail of the future. Our responsibility is to remain faithful in the present, trusting that the God who has led us this far will continue leading us every step of the way. As we learn to live with that perspective, something remarkable begins to happen. Peace gradually replaces panic. Confidence begins to overcome uncertainty. Hope becomes stronger than fear. Not because our circumstances suddenly become easier, but because our hearts have learned to rest in the One who remains unchanged. The storms of life may still come. Unexpected challenges may still appear, but they no longer have the power to shake the foundation of our faith, because that foundation is built upon Christ Himself. Every trial becomes another opportunity to witness His faithfulness. Every difficult season becomes another reminder that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. Every answered prayer, every unseen protection, and every quiet act of His provision becomes another testimony that He has been with us all along. So when uncertainty comes, do not allow fear to become your guide. Let God's promises become the voice you listen to most. Let His word steady your heart. Let His presence calm your spirit. And let His faithfulness remind you that no matter what tomorrow holds, the Lord who holds tomorrow is already walking beside you, preparing the way with perfect wisdom, unfailing love, and everlasting peace. As we come to the close of today's message, hold on to this truth with all your heart. No matter what uncertainty may surround you, God's faithfulness has never changed. He has been your refuge in the past. He is your refuge today, and He will remain your refuge in every season that is still ahead. Life will continue to bring unexpected moments. Some will fill your heart with joy. Others may leave you searching for answers. Yet through every chapter, one reality remains constant. The Lord is good. He never abandons those who place their trust in Him, and He never loses sight of the people He calls His own. When fear tries to convince you that you are alone, remember that God's presence is not determined by your emotions. His promises are not weakened by difficult circumstances, and His love is not interrupted by seasons of waiting or uncertainty. He is still guiding your steps. He is still opening doors according to His perfect wisdom. He is still protecting you in ways you may never fully understand this side of eternity. There may be days when you cannot see the road ahead. There may be nights when your heart feels overwhelmed by questions. But even then, you can rest in the assurance that your shepherd has never stopped watching over you. His hand remains upon your life. His grace continues to sustain you, and His purpose for your future is still unfolding one faithful step at a time. So do not allow tomorrow's worries to steal today's peace. Choose to trust the Lord with every concern you carry. Bring your fears before Him in prayer. Fill your heart with His word, and allow His promises to become stronger than the voices of doubt that try to discourage you. The safest place you can ever be is not a life without problems. It is a life that remains firmly anchored in the presence of God. That is where peace is found. That is where courage is renewed. That is where hope continues to grow, even when the future remains unseen. Walk forward with confidence. Stand firm in your faith. Keep your eyes fixed on Christ, knowing that the God who has carried you through every trial will never stop leading you. He is your stronghold. He is your protector. He is your unfailing hope. And no matter what tomorrow brings, you can face it with confidence, because the Lord who goes before you will never fail you, never forsake you, and never let go of your hand.